My name is Danni, and my son was diagnosed with PDD-NOS on the autism spectrum. After he was 1, I started noticing that things weren't okay. He wasn't responding to his name. He was only eating 2 or 3 foods, and everything else seemed to cause a meltdown. He spent most of his days crying and screaming, and we didn't know why, and we couldn't figure out how to comfort him. And I was starting to really feel like a failure with this one. And you're trying not to compare your second child with your first in any way, because his older brother was off the charts gifted. He was hitting those milestones early. I just had such an easy time with it that I didn't want to try and hold him up to that standard, but something wasn't right. And somewhere in this time, I'm starting to recognize that our family dynamic's changing. We were really very busy. Like, we would go to the jazz concerts at the Botanical Gardens every week, and we would go down to the concerts at the Arch and the riverfront, and we were always out doing stuff in the community, and we'd really become homebodies. And every night was kind of a battle at dinner time, a lot of screaming, and even I started to notice my oldest son was kind of in on the game of appeasing Cole and anything he wanted just to kind of keep him from exploding. And I thought, something is not right. Like, everything has changed without us noticing it. I took him into his pediatrician, and he had an epic meltdown in front of him. And the pediatrician said, between sensory issues and this meltdown, and you're telling me that these are pretty regular, he said, I'd like you to go to a neurologist and have him evaluated. And so we went to a neurologist, and I really felt like it was more of a formality. I'd helped raise a child previously for a period of time who had Asperger's. And in my mind, that was autism, and I kind of had that in a box. But we also have a friend who has a child that has severe autism, and he's really low functioning, and that's the other side of autism I knew, and neither one of those seemed like Cole. And so he sat with him and played with him for 2 or 3 hours. I didn't even bring my husband to this doctor's appointment. I thought it was such a formality. I was just trying to do the right thing by the pediatrician. And at the end of that, he sat down and he said, your son has PDD-NOS, which is on the autism spectrum. And I was just like, what? Like, I did not see that coming. I definitely thought you were going to say the opposite. The whole visit had gone so well. I did not see it coming. But after it kind of hit me, and I'm trying to just hear the words he's saying, he said, look at me. And he said, you have to help him right now. He's 2.5 years old. His brain is going to become less plastic once he hits the age of 4, so you're going to be able to help him less once he hits that age. He says you need to go all in right now and get him every therapy that you can, and he has a chance of having a really good quality of life if you do that. We did this, the most important therapy I think that we did was this vital sounds listening therapy, where he would listen to binaural sounds for 30 minutes twice a day, and it would affect different parts of his brain. And he started around that time very nonverbal, melting down all the time, and I just saw him improve over the year, and it was great. Somebody gave me a book called The Out of Sync Child, and that was the first time I saw the world through his eyes, and it really described what it is to perceive everything with this heightened sensory state, so that I could understand that, oh, it's this color that's really causing a reaction, and it's this texture that's causing a reaction, and sounds, oh my gosh, sounds, so headphones became something that we always had with us. And once I could see the world through his eyes, I could make everything better for him. And we found that even though the diagnosis was a huge, heavy label, it was also a big help, because we then had license to get all of these therapies, and it was the first step we needed to get him an IEP, to get him help in school. It's been interesting to see the evolution since, because I still respect his privacy on it, and I try not to lead with it, but he has taken it on his own to tell certain friends. It's like, if he trusts a friend and he's having a hard day, he's like, listen, I have autism, and I'm really struggling right now, and it's related to this, and it blows my mind. He just got out of 4th grade, and apparently he's been telling kids since the 2nd or 3rd grade, like, what's, but only when he really trusts them, and he's having a struggle that he can't define and get through. It has been like trying to see through a cloud. I have no idea what's coming. Even now, I have no idea what's coming with him. It's just really been a matter of learning my child and understanding why he thinks the way he thinks and how he sees the world, and then going along the journey with him. it's not all bad. Like, life is good now. He is a joy to have around. It was a struggle to get him to a point where he could be happy and healthy, but he's hilarious. Like, he's one of the most fun people in our family. People really enjoy being around him, and he's super creative. So it was a harder journey to get here, but life is good now, and I think his life is going to be great. So there is hope, is one thing I would say. And the other is just for the parents that seek out respite care and take breaks, because it is a full-time job unto itself. If you have a full-time job on top of that, it's just a lot. So I really want to stress that seek out every last bit of help you can get. I felt such guilt when he first was diagnosed that I was getting any help, because my son wasn't as serious on the spectrum as some other kids. And I just thought, why do we deserve this when he at least is potty trained and he's starting to speak? And do we even deserve this? I had such guilt about it. But I don't think I could have gotten through it if I didn't accept the help when it was offered. So I think it's huge and very, very critical to take all the help that somebody's willing to give you. And when you get through it, this is just a season in life. Wait for the next season to come and pay it forward and help somebody else that's going through it.